Show. Tonight, Dick's guests are John Lennon, Yoko Ono, Shirley MacLaine, and Bob Rosengarten and the orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Cavett.
You must have me confused with someone else.
Not a chance.
Not a chance? Lady likes me. Say, I don't have anything much to say right here now because I'm in a sort of peculiar position in terms of time, time itself. The problem is that we are doing this show. It's another one of those time warp problems. We're taping this show, but it won't be seen until now, actually, if you're watching it. But it's actually, well, see, the problem with tape is, you know that somewhere in the show you're going to say something that's going to be out of date. But if you watch closely, you at home will probably be able to guess about when this show was taped. The reason we have to tape out of sequence is that the primaries have been fritzing up our schedule. And I think the primaries are a waste of time anyway. I mean, everyone knows Muskie's going to win all of them. And now can you guess when we're taping? No, now I have you confused. We aren't taping that late. But you remember the time when the poll said he would win all the primaries? But so much for polls and ratings and other harmless fantasies. What else can I talk about? We have an interesting show tonight for you. John Lennon and Yoko Ono were here once before. They faced deportation, which is an interesting thing. I guess you've been reading about that. Deportation is usually reserved for high-ranking ex-mafia members, as you know, or used to be. Obviously, the criterion for deportation is having once belonged to a group that no one knows exists anymore, something like that. John, you know, being an ex-Beatle. I had a joke in mind there, but it proved to be a little thinner than I thought. My hip band leader, the first time John Lennon was on, said, "I cannot place the name." And I said, "Used to belong to a group. 4. They sang. Is that a clue?" And he said, "That's one of the Lennon sisters?" No, but seriously, folks. See, it's hard to know what to talk about when you're out of sequence like this. Hipness is a hard thing. I kid him about not being hip, but I don't know if I'm hip. I thought I was hip when I stopped wearing a tie clip that was like a sword through your tie. Do you remember those? I know what I could do here. This is not a tie clip. Thousands of letters come in, dozens, saying, "Why do you wear this funny tie clip when there's so many attractive tie clips?" This is a microphone. Now, I have explained this, and the country is still alarmed by it. This is a little tiny microphone that creeps down here and daringly appears around my hip somewhere, comes back up, and there's a transmitter here. This is a tie, which I wear in order to wear this microphone. Why do we wear ties? Does anyone ever know? Do you know what it goes back to? Really? Now, many of you are too young to know this, but I'm older, Victorian era. In the Victorian age, buttons on a man's shirt were considered obscene because they resembled the human navel. That is true. During the Victorian age, there was a well-known pervert, Basil the Button Flasher, who used to stand outside girls' finishing schools and flash his buttons. And so they invented the necktie. How many find this attractive? Who would like to have it? Not even the lady who said not a chance? Or... I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to auction off my tie.
I think so.
That's a... Do we have time?
Sure.
We'll give the money to one of the drug abuse places. Really, seriously, who would like this tie? Somebody. I happen to know what this tie is worth. And so we're going to start. We will actually do this now. I hope we're not in violation of anything. This is not a bad tie, so we're going to start at, do I hear 50 cents? 50 cents is an insulting. Who said $1? $1.50? Do I hear $1.50? Yes. We're not up to 5 yet. Anyone in the poor section? $5? The lady there, are you good for $5? Really? Do I hear $5? What was that? Someone said she's great? Are you willing to be bad for $5? Sorry, it's the Groucho Marx influence. Do I hear $5.50? Yeah, where? Oh, there's doubt in that. So who you said say? $7. Cancel the guest. We can get up to $8. Anyone else? Anyone in the balcony? Please, don't let the reputation of the... What? Well, waive the bill. I'd like to see it. I don't really know what we're up to now. Is there literally a $10 bid for this necktie?
$10. That's the kind of guy I am.
No, is there really a $10 bid?
$10.
Let's think seriously.
$10.
Are you serious? Half your week's salary? There is a $10.50 in the balcony. Where is the person? Well, can the downstairs top that? $11? I have no... I'm embarrassed now because the tie actually came in a Cracker Jack box. Okay, I'd sell it to the guy for $11. Huh? I have to take it off now? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I withdraw your winning bid. $12? I don't know who's serious now. The lady said $12. I don't think we should go much higher than that because... Listen, the products on the show don't sell for more than $12. I think this lady won because I've... You what? I'm sorry. You warmed the seat up for me? What were you doing up here? I'm sorry, we don't sell ties to trespass here. Okay, do you want it? Okay. Oh, are you ready for that? Had the $12. Gee, a 10 and 2 1s. Wait a minute. Hamilton does not wear glasses. All right. Listen, if the guests haven't arrived, we'll go through the rest of my wardrobe later in the show. What are you going to do with it?
I think I'll give it to my boyfriend.
Give it to your boyfriend? Is that your boyfriend sitting next to you? He's a very attractive gentleman. No. Okay. Would I sign it? Yeah. Okay. According to the card that's being held up, John Lemon is one of my guests tonight. Would I lie to you? John Lemon. And, boy, you don't make a record for 2 weeks and they forget who you are. Yoko Ono and Shirley MacLaine. No, McLean is right, but we'll be back. You remember how much you enjoyed John Lemon in Some Like It Hot, and we'll be back after this message. Thank you. See you.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a good dog. It's been a hard day's night, I should be sleeping like a log. But when I get home to you, I find the...
One of my guests tonight is, I hope you're not offended at my daring neckline, but we can't find another tie until tomorrow. One of the most One of the nice things about Shirley MacLaine is that when she isn't working, she's not sitting by a swimming pool soaking up sunlight. She's always doing something active and busy, and she's written a best-selling autobiography, which she actually wrote herself, in spite of the rumors that nobody ever really writes his own book or her own book. And she did a television series that was not a bestseller, although her book was. Must be an awful feeling. And she was in a provocative film called Desperate Characters, and she's in another provocative film, the title of which intrigues me. It's called The Possession of Joel Delaney. I don't even know if Joel Delaney is a man or a woman. And she's been around the country lately, taking its pulse, so to speak. Will you welcome Miss Shirley MacLaine? How are you?
For another 100, I'd like to see the rest.
You'd like to see the rest for another 100?
I've often wondered what's going on under there.
How exactly do you mean that?
If I give you the 100, will you show me?
You played one hooker in a movie, and look at you. 5?
It's $20 a time.
5? I don't understand 5.
Oh, I'm everybody's hooker next door.
Oh, are you? But you're also quite respectable, and, and there's a respectable side to you, at least, that I know
I'm talking
of.
about my film career.
Hey, tell me about the title of your film, and then we won't have to...
This new one that's coming.
Because the subject matter does interest me. They don't always, and I often say that they do, you know, to be nice to the guests, but this does.
It's called The Possession of Joel Delaney, and it's about the occult, the spiritismo, a real sort of phenomenon going on in America.
Yes, it is.
Which I don't necessarily believe in.
Is it witchcraft in that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, it's really frightening. A lot of people are carried away by it, really believe in it. Yeah. It's terrifying.
And is this a fictional treatment of the
Well,
series?
it was written by a lady who did have an experience with a close younger man who was involved with schizophrenia. I think it was schizophrenia, but he thinks he was possessed. He thinks he was possessed by a killer, and he got into that scene, and it was difficult for him to get out, and nobody could explain it. And so she wrote a book that was fiction, but it was...
Based on a real case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been possessed? I've put that badly. Have you ever felt the presence of a spirit and been in a room where there was a seance?
I sort of get possessed by good spirits and the feeling that everything is much better than it actually is. But these people that I was involved with when I made the film really believed it. Oh, they really did think that... See, when you don't have explanations for human behavior that's despicable, you have to go to something. So I think they decide that it's the spirit of the devil combined with some sort of primitive superstition, and they come up with the spiritismo or occult. I have great respect for it, although I don't really believe in it.
But you said the people you made it with do believe in it. Do you mean the actors or the...
Yes, we had some actors who were very adept at it, and they were good at conducting a spiritismo sessions and exorcisms.
That's new to me, spiritismo. Where
Well,
does
it
that
was
come
to
from?
me too.
The word.
It's a combination of probably the Catholic Church and primitive cultures, you know, because they were all Catholic down there in the islands, particularly Puerto Rico, which is where this is very prevalent. It's really a mind blower. I didn't understand it at first, but I was so interested in doing the subject because I know it's so popular in America. And like I said, I have respect for it, even though I don't believe in it. That we tried to make a picture that was real, and it is terrifying.
Is it a little scary to people?
Yeah. I like
Chill.
it.
Chill the
Because of the actuality that it could really happen. I mean, here's your Norman Rockwell type family with a nice, affluent lady in the upper 70s. It takes place here in New York, and she is blind to a lot of the deprivation in the world and what's going on. And suddenly her life begins to crumble because of the behavior of her brother. And he's been possessed by a man who really hasn't had the affluence and the comforts and the conditions and education that a lot of us have had, and he comes back and revenges himself, and that's what it's about. So you see the disintegration of this woman's personality, and she's woken up too late.
Are you Joel Delaney? Is that the man?
I'm
that's
the
man.
sister, and he's my brother.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when we get back, have you been around the country?
Yeah, that's really
Did you actually
interesting.
find Middle America?
There's about 30 universes going on out there.
Okay. We'll be back and find out where they are. We'll be right back. Is that what? Are we back? Oh, are we on television? Oh, get nervous. You've just been around the country.
Yeah.
Well, around the country. I mean, in the country and all. And tell me what's going on with you. Why aren't you making a movie instead of that?
Well, I'm campaigning for someone I'm not supposed to mention the name of, according to ABC's rules. So where are all these, so you know who it is.
Oh,
They
I'm going to
couldn't-
throw myself in front of your bosom so they can't see you.
I
like
didn't
that.
hear you.
Now we have to.
You know,
Now we've got it. Now we have to get an audience for each candidate.
it'll be silent. Silent. You won't hear anything.
It's going to be very hard.
Well, let's turn the cameras out there and we'll applaud and see what's going on.
But you know,
No.
really, that FCC ruling, I did check, and it doesn't apply to people like me. It applies to the candidates. So it is up to each individual network to give these rules. I mean, I understand.
What were you
that
told?
when-
That you can't come on and mention a candidate's name
I
because
couldn't
then
say
you have
his
to have
name.
every other candidate's supporters on? Is that it?
It's equal time. I don't know if they'd have Hubert Humphrey on because I've been on for George McGovern. I don't know, but it wouldn't seem to me quite equitable.
Because it seems logical that eventually we will have people on who will speak for anybody in the natural course of events.
Sure,
I
but
mean,
what's happening is
I've had
because
Wallace supporters on from show business.
that's right. You see, what's the conclusion you reach is that because you have to observe equal time for everybody, nobody gets on. You see, that's what's really happening.
Well,
Anyway,
I'd rather hear about you and what you've been
that's
doing
where
out
I've
there.
been, and I've been doing it now since January, every day, you know, absolutely every day, and I've been in about 12 states now. And I'm not kidding. I thought I knew America, but I don't suppose anyone really knows. But the thing to pick up on is the pulse of the mood, you know, the anxieties, these things that are making them this universe of people out there, both happy and sad and frustrated and demoralized, et cetera, et cetera. And I've been in places like bowling alleys and supermarkets and church groups and coffee clutches and women's clubs and campuses and ladies' rooms and dining clubs and, well, just everywhere. I guess I must see like 500 people a day. That's a lot of people. And what I'm learning is that they're really trying to tell us something, you know, those of us who are supposed to be in the forefront of artists and making films and books and television, and those of them who are politically trying to lead the country, they know a little bit more than those of us give them respect for knowing. And that's why I got involved with this. When you really realize that the bottom falls out of your own industry, you relate it immediately to the fact that the bottom dropped out of the country. And what you have to go to is the source of the reason why. And their responses are more sophisticated and more respectful than we realized.
But we often hear that it's just an illusion created by the media that people are vitally concerned with all the problems that the papers and magazines are. But that when you get out and meet them,
Yeah.
what they're really concerned about is, are they going to get well, this is a national issue, I suppose, but aren't they going to get their meals paid for that week, and are they going to be able to afford school and that they're not that concerned with all of the things
Not so
that
much-
make journalism.
The thing that I'm finding everywhere is the thing they're most concerned with is truth. I mean, it's not an abstract notion. They want to be told the truth. They want the president to tell them the truth. They want our movies to tell them the truth. And the reason they're not responding, I mean, if we make 135 pictures a year and 6 or 7 are hits, then there's something wrong about the truth we're reflecting of that society. And this isn't unrelated to politics, you know, because it all is sort of lumped up together in the last analysis. We're a little bit out of touch with what they're feeling, and they're desperately trying to tell us the truth.
Well, what happens in a bowling alley? Now, what kind of truth do you get there?
Well, you see-
walk in, and first of all, they must be startled to see Shirley MacLaine walk in.
That takes about 4 minutes to get over with because they know I'm there for the candidate I'm there for. It's so restrictive not to be able to say the name, you know?
Mr.
Just
X.
have to.
Well,
And we sit down and we talk about life because they relate to me not on a political level but on a humanistic level. And they ask me about my life and I ask them about theirs, and pretty soon we're up to the fact that they can't pay for their mortgage, they can't, their credit is gone, their kids are demoralized and on different kinds of dope, blah, blah, blah. And it starts to get into the problems that are suddenly now political legislation, you know. The whole problem of the spirit and feeling and mood of the country is directly related to politics. Maybe that's why this political election is so much more exciting this year than any other time, because all the confluence of currents have come together, and this phenomenon of desperation is manifesting itself in You're lying to us, you know, you're lying. Now tell us so we can fix ourselves. It's really amazing.
I would think that with the Pentagon Papers and with all of those things, that people must be pretty well adjusted to the fact that it's going to, only 1 or 2 insiders really know what's ever going on, and the rest of the time, it's just as anybody's guess, because things are done privately.
Yeah, they think that corruption is synonymous with leadership. They think that that an honest person can't win, and the really terrible mind blower is that they think an honest person can't govern. Now, that's a terrible thing.
Can't what?
Govern.
Oh, I thought you said
That's funny.
Sorry. Can't rule. Can't rule. Oh, wait, that's the name of the president of the ABC network. Wait.
You're in trouble. I mean, there's no way you can go.
I don't think anyone else is running for that office. So. But go ahead. No, wait, he isn't the chairman. What is he? Chairman? Oh, okay. Take my fumbling out later of the tape. Go on, Shirley.
You know, I'm gonna say something about the problems I've been reading about your, how they're hassling you with your ratings and this and that. You are such a pleasure to have on.
Yes, that's right. Let's stand praise.
I really think it's about time we all woke up that it's not necessary in this society to always have high numbers, big ratings, large box office receipts, that the important thing a lot of the time is quality, and that's what you are.
Well, you're very kind. But I'd never hear...
And anyway, you know, if you let me go on with this, you do reach whatever your ratings are, 5 million people. What are they? Nothing? The 5 million that do listen to you and watch you and are really faithful and learn something and are entertained in a qualitative manner, they've got to mean something.
Well, that whole numbers thing is, well, I have something to say about it, but I'm not ready to, I want to get it all
together.
Is that how you say it? Yes. See, I'm older than you are, and I don't know all those expressions. But I either will have said it by now, or I'm going to.
You mean you've got a commercial?
We're on tape, and but here we are. I cannot get my mind around that problem. I'm going to forget it. The fact that we're seen right now, but we're taping a week before, and our local stations have a message, and we'll be right back. Right now. Talking to Shirley MacLaine, where are some specific towns and places you've been in?
Let's see. I started in January in Illinois, New Hampshire, Florida, Pennsylvania, Utah, Idaho, Arizona, South Dakota.
I envy that. I'd love to get around the country some. I did a little earlier this year, and no one knew I was there because I was actually pre-taped and I was on the air.
It's just so important that that those of us who think we are emulators of life, you know, we think we can be people in our profession. How can we be them if we don't understand them? How can we be them if we don't brush up against the humanity of them, you know? And as I said, I thought I understood what I was doing, but not until this last trip, because I've been around the world a lot, but never my own country, because I felt I knew it. We tend to be seduced by the communications media because the communications are so immediate, but we always really get their opinion of what America is. You get a very different picture when you see it yourself and you perceive it through your own eyes.
Did you run into a lot of that feeling that people don't really know what we're like from the image they get from us? And shows them?
Like they always think I'm short and cute and cuddly. I come on like this.
Yeah. But what I meant was, do the people out there actually feel that no one knows what they're like because...
Oh, you mean we don't understand them and they feel resentful?
Yeah, because there's a kind of paste-up idea of what Middle America is, and it isn't that.
That's right. I think they feel caricatured. They feel that they've been categorized, that they're all in one big lump bag. And, I mean, they're just not. In one single family, you'll find 5 countries, because each person is operating out of a different set of values. I mean, for instance, a 9-year-old brother's generation gap is probably larger between he and his 12-year-old brother than maybe the 12-year-old brother and the 25-year-old father. You know? And wait a minute.
You may want to rephrase that. They're coming right across the street.
But you understand what I mean, that things are moving so fast that the generation, I don't know, the psychological gap, the sort of lifestyle value gap gets gets larger and larger as people move faster and faster. And if we don't keep up with what's really happening out there, we're not going to understand anything.
Hasn't anybody said, what's an actress doing involved in all of this? You're supposed to be up on the screen entertaining and amusing us.
Yeah, but like I said, what's the difference? When your job is and your interest and your creativity lies in emulating life, you're just that far from becoming involved with how to make it better.
Is your career likely to suffer from this? Is your agent worried?
He's not worried because of who I'm supporting. He's worried because I'm not working.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Well, he understands I have to do it. I mean, I really couldn't go to Soundstage 27 and emote all day long while this life's occurring on the outside. I just couldn't do it.
What did that in you? There are plenty of people who do still go to Soundstage 27.
Not too many, if you'll notice.
Yeah.
I don't know what did it, Dick. I guess the same thing that made me write my book and made me start traveling when I was 20. I just am just desperately in love with people. I want to know what they're feeling, how they're acting, what bothers them, you know, how to... And then, of course, you do get suddenly transcended in, if you care and if you're sensitive, into how to make things better. So the best tool we have at our disposal is politics, I guess. I mean, I don't like politics. I really don't like the nature of it, but...
Well, I seem to remember you once saying you wouldn't get involved in it, that it's too dirty.
As a candidate myself, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But believing in the spiritual and human and honest and direct qualities that I find in this particular man that I'm supporting, I feel that that's worth a year out of my life, or however long it will end up being. I mean, if he gets the nomination, I'll go straight through to November. If he doesn't, I'll go back to work and write my book that I'm finishing and another movie. But, see, you can't separate these things, I don't feel, because there's no real difference between political legislation and social dilemma, is there? And we're all involved with the social structure and the social problems and things that bug us. So if we're involved with that, we work within an electoral process to make it better and to change it, and that involves politics. I wouldn't like to be chained to a desk or anything like that, but I like to move around and get the feel of what everyone else is anxious about.
Do you think it's worth starving an agent to save the country?
I can tell you, my agent has no problems.
It's an old philosophical question. We'll be right back after this message.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a good dog. It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a log, but when I get home to you, I find the...
My next guest taped a 90-minute show with me a little less than a year ago. Can't be that long. No, quite a lot less than a year ago. Like a week ago. No, sometime anyway. They said at that time that they might come back and sing sometime. There was so much to talk about that the taping actually ran on beyond the 90 minutes, and we ran some of it on a later show. And anyway, they have kept their promise, and I'm grateful because not only is it interesting to see them perform, but they are involved in a crucial court case here in New York, which will determine whether or not they can remain in the country or whether they face deportation back to England. Will you welcome, please, John and Yoko Lennon. I'll bet you don't have the nerve to say that out, what you said to me.
Tylus in Gaza. You got to know that book, otherwise it's no good, is it?
Is that a favorite book of yours?
It was a good book, yeah. I forgot. Aldous Huxley wrote it, that's it. I got my notes on
What a terrible pun. Nice to see you.
It was a nice book.
Nice to see both of you. Let me
Same to you.
I didn't see you backstage at all. I wasn't avoiding you. I wasn't...
we were rehearsing and you were putting your tie on.
I was doing whatever it is that I do.
I was watching you talking, Dick, and it's beautiful, you know, what you believe in
what's his
and all
name?
that.
Now, wait a minute.
You say it, John. You're leaving anyway, right?
I thought it said McCartney.
McCartney, you thought it said?
I've got short, bad eyes.
Somebody who can govern very well, it sounds like.
We have to, watch yourselves, watch
Yeah,
yourselves.
forget it.
Say you're not fat. I couldn't help noticing that you're
Malted
not...
milks.
Well, all
Even
of...
though I eat malted milks, I'm
Yes,
not putting
that's
on
his
too much
diet.
weight.
Huh?
I'm
What
a
is
freak
that?
for malted.
There's a rumor going around that you were had gone practically overboard, as we say in America, on malted milks.
I know, you see, well, we don't have things like that in England, and so most kids eat like it here, not adults, right? But I'm crazy for it. You often see me down at Nathan's sucking on a malted.
What do they have in your poor underdeveloped
Well, they have sort of
country? For,
not as many ice creams and, lousy milkshakes.
curds and whey, a lot of that.
Really sort of, plastic stuff.
Yeah.
And I really dig it, I was on cheeseburgers, but I got over them. A round of applause for cheeseburgers.
You have to
He's
be...
never going to get
Breadfruit.
over TV.
Maybe he likes it. What's he doing?
Well, somebody clapped cheeseburgers. I thought we'd get around for breadfruit.
Yes, we have to be careful of your adolescent complexion, don't you, with these things?
Well, I do, now 31.
Say happy birthday in the past.
Oh, thank you, we haven't seen you since then. I'm
You went way over
31.
30 sometime.
Yeah, 31 and rising.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go
And,
back, though.
Why don't you tell him how you like the TV? The thing is, you always say that, well,
The TV bit.
even after...
Yeah, another
Yeah.
thing about America is that you can, like in Europe, or especially where I come from, London, you have to choose if you want to go out for the evening, or go to a theatre, or go to a movie, or watch TV. But here you can do it all, at any time of night. It's fantastic. You don't realize how great it is. They send you to bed at 12 in London, or 10. And 12 is the latest it goes on at the weekend. If we're really lucky, we get a late night movie up till 12 or 12:30. And it's just boring, because a lot of people in our business are just never get a chance to see anything.
Aren't you late sleepers anyway? Late, what's the opposite of rise? Late
Right.
fallers?
In a way.
Late
aren't we?
swingers, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And we just watch TV, and it's great,
See, you
Because
got
we-
very good reviews on your art exhibit. That was
Syracuse,
well,
yeah, that was
Well,
when
yeah.
we were
Nice
doing
to
our
see.
plug that time.
Yeah.
We got accused of plugging too much last
Oh,
time.
did you
so
see? I
we
wonder.
won't
Did you
plug.
see Harrison when he was on here?
Yeah. What was he saying? Capital. He started a riot with that thing.
Yes, he did a joke about you. Well, I could explain
Oh,
that.
yeah,
'cause
yeah, I saw it.
Harrison
What was
came
the
on
joke?
and he said, I want to plug, I forget what it was of yours, because he said there's something they forgot to plug.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
Yeah, that
great.
was nice of him,
Sweet
too.
of
It
him,
was the
yes.
album, probably.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I can't remember.
But I should have explained that on that show, it did look like there were sort of 3 plugs in a row, but it's because we taped and then we had so much that we put it together out of sequence, and it
Thank
looked
you,
like
thank you.
It looked like you.
I'm not ashamed of plugging because, people come on to plug something, right?
I mean,
Everybody's
we
selling
believe in what
something.
we do,
And it's not like...
Plug everything but presidents, right?
Yeah, sure, but I think you did it all right.
Yes,
You
we
got,
got
it
the
on there.
message.
Lead in through clever.
What? Oh no, you don't have to read that.
Oh, 11.
I'd like to know. I do want to know about the
About
thing
the
that's
case, yeah.
it's in the papers. Yeah.
Hello.
There's more than one show going on.
I know. Are they seeing a different show?
It's a 2-ring circus. Someone may have tuned one of the monitors to another program up there.
It's not as surreal as last time. Last time was a bit fast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like, ding, ding, we didn't know what was going on in between the commercials. None of us knew what we were talking about. It was going so fast because we were nervous and he must have picked it up and it was just like through the whole show.
We were
Well,
hyperactive.
It's not exactly slow now, but
No.
it's all right.
So you want
it's
to
like-
tell him
yes.
about the case and everything?
See, we're really frightened now because there's some people feel that we have to maybe leave this country, and that puts us in a position, especially for me, that I have to choose between my husband and my child.
Explain that. Why I
Well-
got in that situation?
First of all, because, well, I have a child who's 8 years old,
American.
and she's an American citizen.
Yeah.
And we're trying to, we're looking for her in a way, because, I mean, we can't find her.
Shall I explain about Texas and everything quickly?
Right.
See, her former husband is American, and so is therefore her daughter is. And Yoko never took out American citizenship because she never needed it. She was here half her life. She was educated here, and then she married an American. And it never came up to change citizenship or anything. It was just always easy to come and go. She never thought of it. So when the divorce came, and there was no arrangement made for the child because at that time we were more amicable. The 2 ex-parties, but you know how things get, and they got worse and worse and worse until it came that we couldn't see Kyoko anymore. The child is called Kyoko. And we had been chasing her in Europe, and in Denmark, in Spain, in Hawaii, in America, back to Europe, this has been going on for 2 or 3 years. And finally we thought, oh, let's go to court in the place where the divorce was. That was in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So we went there, and we only just got in. At the last minute, immigration still hadn't given us a form to get in. And they told us you can have just enough time to go for the court case. And that was going to be 1 day. And we said, that's fine. But even as we got to the border, the thing hadn't come through. So we said to the man, look, they're expecting us, call Washington to let us in. We have a court case today. And I was still stuck in the British Virgin Islands because I couldn't get in. They let us in. We won the court case. And on the way in, they said, how long do you want? After they told me I'd only have 3 days, I said, well, what have you got? They said, oh, 3 months. So I said, okay, I'll have 3 months. But as it happens, we finished the court case quickly. We got custody. We went up to New York, did a little sort of social business because our firm is up there, Apple. And then we went back to America, back to England. Next time we applied, somebody said, and these are all things you can't prove, you know, because it's always well, you didn't use your 3 months. You didn't use your 3 months. Why? I said, well, you didn't want me to use, you weren't grateful to use your 3 months. So I said, well, I'm sorry about it, but we have to come back for the court case. So the court case was going on. There was a few different episodes in it. Finally, we got custody. But during that, her ex-husband, Tony Cox, opened a court case in Texas where his parents-in-law are, and he'd set up an establishment there, which for the first time in 2 years has set up a residence, and was carrying on a normal family life down there. And he chose Texas as then a forum to fight our case in the Virgin Islands. So then we had another case going, that was in Texas, so obviously we had to keep coming and going. And immigration was getting upset with us and saying, well, tell us when it's going to be. We said, we can't tell you, it's up to the judge when it happens, we have no control. So finally, as we start winning the case in Texas, Mr. Cox runs away with Kyoko again.
As usual.
So it's easy for somebody to go in court and accuse people like us in public of terrible things, and by the time we've waded through it all and said, no, you know, we haven't done a damn thing, actually, all we're trying to do is talk to her. She hasn't spoken to her for a year. By the time the judge has seen through all the games, the man's run away again. They give us custody again, and this is temporary custody, only if we bring the child up in America.
Because she's an American citizen.
Because she's an American citizen. The judge thought she should be brought up here, and we don't mind. We agree. We'd like to be here and bring her up. So, A, we have the 2 papers with custody, but we don't know where she is still. We haven't a clue where she is. She's in America somewhere. So we've no idea. We can't tell immigration or anybody when it'll be all over or when we know what's going to happen. And they began to intimate to us that we were using that as an excuse to go on Mike Douglas, Dick Cavett, and things like that. But all it is that we're not going to just sit in a box while we're in between court cases. We have to live our life, and to work is the only way we can keep our minds off it, because it's killing her. It's 2 years since she's seen her, and 1 year since she's spoken to her on the phone. And immigration's policy has always been not to split a family. So they're saying that seeing as Mr. Lennon is not eligible, because I was bussed in England in 1968, planted, by the way, but bussed. I pleaded guilty on lawyer's advice. She was 3 months pregnant and all that. It was a real drag, but I did it. And I paid my $100 fine or whatever it was. And then they say, well, because I'm not eligible, rather than split a family, although there's nothing against Yoko Ono, you'd both better get out. We're saying, but if you don't want to split a family, let us stay here, because our daughter's here. She has to choose between me and the daughter. And A, she doesn't know where the daughter is. We don't have a clue. We just know she's in America, somewhere.
See, even if she's not in America, I really don't know where she is. But the thing is, from a mutual friend we've heard, and of course, you know, that's the cleverest way, is that my ex-husband was saying that, well, all they have to do is hide and wait until we're kicked out, and then this will be a heaven for them, because they don't have to worry about us coming in, because we can never come here, you know.
Yoko always said in all the transcripts of the court cases, too, we don't want to take the child away from Tony.
No, I'm not a possessive.
He's paranoid about it. He thinks we're big, powerful people that are going to do something to him, and we're not. We're saying it now if you're watching. And everybody can... There's nothing John and Yoko could do to Kyoko. We couldn't hide her anywhere like you because we're too famous. There's nowhere we can go. And Yoko always said in court and out of court, she thinks the child should have both parents, be able to see both parents.
Excellent.
And we don't care what kind of arrangement he wants to make, just so the child does have the benefit of both parents.
But at the moment you're split between either... Well, as you said, choosing between your husband and
they're
your
saying,
child,
no matter what, you know, you're a criminal and you've got to go.
Well, let's talk some more about that. That's very... Excuse me,
going,
because we have to take this pause now, then we'll be back. Sorry. Here's a picture of your little girl, Kyoko.
This is Kyoko, and she's 8 years old. And you see, in Texas court, a teacher testified that she's 3 years behind her studies because she's been running around the world so much, you know, and that's one of the reasons I'm very worried about her.
I think it would be on your mind all the time.
It is.
Really
I mean,
Yes.
there's no way out.
Well, John has to switch the TV to another channel or something whenever I see a child, because these days I just can't stand seeing a child, you know.
And it
Because
comes out every
reminds-
night in nightmares, you know. I mean, it really does. If we work all day so to not think about it, it has to come out some way, and it comes out every night about 5 o'clock.
And you know, John's this drug case, which is possession of marijuana case in 1968, it's 4 years ago, and it was planted, and the surgeon who actually came to arrest us is now suspended from his previous job.
He also did the
because,
same to George Harrison.
You know, there's some question about his method of arrest, and they're all saying, and the immigration office saying, well, this is only because of the drug case, you know, and nothing else. But the strange thing is people like Donovan, Keith Richard,
Mick
Jagger,
George Harrison all have exactly the same
exactly the
case as
same
me.
record around the same time, and they can come
the
and
same
go,
policeman,
you know,
I think, you know.
anytime
So what is
they
it
can.
there?
It was. He was a
The same
headhunter.
policeman.
What is
And
it
the
they're after
policeman-
you for? Or should we talk about
They're
that
after
later?
us because we talk about
Outspoken.
peace, you know. I mean,
Outspoken.
because we want peace, you know. We've said the same thing for 2 years, different way, one way or another, and we believe in it.
The only thing we promoted was peace and love, and there have been some rumors like we might go to San Diego to, you know, disrupt the
We're getting blamed for the Chicago
Republican
convention now.
things like that.
It's no kidding.
Chicago.
When we approach people for help, somebody somewhere rings them up and says, these people are criminals. If we were given a job on the Drug Abuse Council to help people try and explain drugs in a realistic way to kids, because nobody else is doing it, then immediately we got the offer. Somebody rings up the people that offered us and say, what are you letting those criminals on for? Don't you know that this, that, and the other? Don't you know that? And somebody else rings up and starts talking about they had something to do with Chicago. And the first time we'd ever heard of Chicago is we saw a play of it done on British TV. That's the first time I'd ever heard.
Because we were
They
in
think we're going
England
to
at
San
that
Diego or
time.
Miami, wherever it is. We've never said we're going. We ain't going.
We're
There'll be
not
no
going.
big jam with us and Dylan because there's too much going on. We never said we were going. That's it.
There was an editorial in the Times the other day, and I know there have been in other
Oh, that was
papers,
great, yeah.
which I completely agree with. I mean, I think it's shocking if you're being deported, and it's ironic that it would happen in the same year that Chaplin was given an award after 20 years after a similar kind of nonsense.
You're more
But I mean-
responsible for the expression of love and peace in the arts than anyone practically in the 20th century.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Well,
Let me
anyway.
try and get this one. You see, this is a bit hard for me to explain, but our lawyer's name is Leon Wilds, and he's not a radical lawyer, he's not a William Kunstler, nothing like that. We went to an immigration lawyer who knew about immigration, and he has really been surprised, because he worked in immigration 15 years, he's really been surprised by some of the things that have gone on. And it's very ironic that the government approved our application as outstanding artists whose presence is beneficial to U.S. cultural interests and the public welfare. The federal judge has approved that, and the government has, but we had to fight for it. And it's the only time that he's ever had to go to court to force the government to consider an application like that, obtained by an injunction, meaning that as one way for us to come in is as outstanding artists or scientists. There's a special clause. Now, we put that in our case, and nobody looked at it. And it's
never
the
looked
law
at the
that they have to look at the application. They didn't look at it, and our lawyer went down and said, you haven't looked at it. So he took them to court. And the judge and the federal judge said they have to look at it and they have to take this into consideration. Yes, they are outstanding artists and would be a benefit to this country. And it's the only time he's had to go in and fight for it.
Also, you know,
Well,
if there are
But,
anybody
just to-
who's interested in helping us, petition does help too. And we have about 10,000 people roughly.
There was
now
a
in
telegram
petition,
from a
but
union leader.
that's
Oh,
not
yeah. You
enough.
want to mention it?
Oh,
It's
yes,
great,
could
you know.
you?
We've run into another station problem here.
Okay,
We have
wow.
to take a message. We'll be back. At this point in the show, which was taped a week ago, John and Yoko got into something which ABC feels may develop into, in their words, a highly controversial issue. It revolves around the song "Woman is a Nigger of the World" and the obvious fact that some members of our black audience will or may be offended by the use of that word. In the next segment, John Lennon gives his reasons for writing the song and for using the word. I permitted this insertion into the show that I'm doing now as the only alternative to a full deletion by ABC of the segment. Watch it. Let us know what you think. Just quickly, it's interesting that the support for this is growing and does not just represent what you might call one kind of person or something. This is a telegram that should interest you. Immigration and Naturalization Service it's addressed to. It would be an outrage and a tragedy for this country if John Lennon and Yoko Ono are deported. Their strong anti-drug stand and their clear, eloquent commitment to nonviolence and to participation in action for constructive social change are messages badly needed in America today, particularly for our youth. He goes on to say about the personal tragedy that Mrs. Lennon is forced into by choosing between her husband and her child. I join thousands of other concerned Americans in asking you to take favorable action enabling John Lennon and Yoko Ono to remain in this country. Signed, Leonard Woodcock, President, United Auto Workers.
Right on, Leonard.
Do the songs, or tell me about it.
Okay. And just one other reason we want to be here is because we really dig it. We dig America. We always have. She loves it, and she's converted me to one of those New York fanatics. Okay, do you want to talk about this?
You are far out.
Yeah, I hate it when I leave New York now.
Yeah.
We want to
anyway,
talk about that?
yes, you have a record here that bears some explanation because there's a bit of hassling going on as to whether or not it can be sung or not.
Yeah, there's always,
Can you
every
explain
other
why?
record I seem to have a hassle with.
Yeah.
Well, this is a song about the women's problem. It was written by Yoko and I, and the song is called Woman is the Nigger of the World. And obviously there was a few people that reacted strangely to it, but usually they were white and male. But that's not... Now, I'll tell you the story of how it came about. In 1969, I put it on the cover of the single so as it helps explain it a bit. Yoko did an interview with a woman about the woman's problem, and I didn't have anything to do with it. And then I noticed the cover, it was called Nova. It's an English woman's magazine like McCall's or something like that. And the first time I heard about it was I saw it on the cover of McCall's like that. And it sort of said, she, woman is the nigger of the world. Well, at the time, I was more of a chauvinist than I am now. And I must say, I was saying, well, come on, what about this and what about that? And I argued a lot. And then... As like everybody else, we talked more and more about it. In the last 2 years, it became more of a thing, and I had to, find out about myself and my attitude to women. And this phrase of hers kept coming through my head, woman is the nigger of the world, woman is the nigger. So I said, come on, Yoko, look, this is it. You've said it here. I agree with you now. I think she is. She's the slave of the slaves. That's what Connolly said, the great Irishman. And so we sat down together and we wrote, we tried to write together the whole story as best we could in a 3 or 4 minute song. And it's called Woman is the Nigger of the World. And then, luckily for me, because a lot of stations were saying, well, we're not going to play this because it says nigger and a white man shouldn't say it, though all my black friends feel I have quite a right to say it because they understand it. And then, strangely enough, the chairman of the Black Caucus, that great guy, Congressman Ron Dellums, Democrat, California, it says here, he came out with this, which is fantastic. If you define niggers as someone whose lifestyle is defined by others, whose opportunities are defined by others, whose role in society is defined by others, then good news. You don't have to be black to be a nigger in this society. Most of the people in America are niggers. I didn't say that. Oh, my goodness. We'll never get in now. I think the word nigger has changed. It does not have the same meaning as it used to, and I think he put it very succinctly there, and I really believe women have the worst. Whatever it is, however badly or poor people are, it's the woman that takes it when they get home from work.
Well, now would you...
I'd love to.
Would you two menaces to society do your number?
Thank you. Yes, we'd love to.
Woman is the nigger of the world. Yes, she is. Think about it. Woman is the nigger of the world. Think about it. Do something about it. We make her paint her face and dance. If she won't be a slave, we say that she don't love. If she's real, we say she's trying to be a man. While putting her down, we pretend so hard that she's above us. Woman is the nigger of the world. Yes, she is. If you don't believe me, take a look at the one you're with. Woman is the slave to the slave. Ah, yeah. You better scream about it. We make a better raise our children, and then we leave her flat for being a fat old mother hen. We tell her home is the only place she should be. Then we complain that she's too unworldly to be our friend. Well, now, woman is the nigger of the world. Yeah, she is. If you don't believe me, take a look at the one you're with. Woman is the slave to the slave. Oh, yeah. You better scream about it. We insult her every day on TV and wonder why she has no guts or confidence. When she's young, we kill her will to be free, while telling her not to be so smart, we put her down for being so dumb. Well, now, woman is the nigger of the world. Yeah, she is. If you don't believe me, take a look at the one you're with. Woman is the slave to the slave. Oh, yeah. You better scream about it. Woo!
We were speaking about your far-out attitude. It's not fashionable to like New York these days, and sometime you must come tell us why an Englishman who has a country home and can live in the rolling green hills of England was so anxious to settle here. It's refreshing and nice.
Also,
Most
you see,
people.
it's not just
I was
the
brought up on
sentimental,
Americana. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's not just the sentimental reason that we want to stay here. There's a lot of things we're planning, you know. This was sort of regardless of the immigration attitude, you know. We were, since a year ago, we were thinking of making a music library in New York, opening a music library in New York that is free, and it's for the poor and for the young, you know, things like that. And also, the Aware organization in New York is inviting us as artists in residence to help the summer program, you know, to cool the summer in New York, things like that. So we really like to stay here and do a lot of things.
What is that?
Yes,
They should erect a monument.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
That'll be.
Now, may I quickly, because this is so important.
She's been organising it. It's like a political campaign.
You see,
we've
this
got.
is,
She's doing it all.
you know, Children's Medical Relief International. And there's a hospital in Saigon called Center for Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery. And this is the only modern facility in Vietnam that's designed to treat the thousands of children injured, you know, directly and indirectly from the war. And actually, you know, it's very sad because now the government is cutting funds, you know, and because of lack of funds, maybe they have to close down. And they really desperately need money immediately. And anyone who is interested in helping them or doing something about it, the address is CMRI.
CMRI is what?
CMRI.
Oh, Children's Medical
is,
Relief International.
Yes. And it's so sad because even if they go on treating the children, it takes 30 years to treat all of them, you know, to get well. I mean, it's that bad. And you see, what happened is, you know, if you think that, you know, if your own child is injured, you know, what happened was in backstage, I had these photographs of them and Kyoko's photo together. And then I was just going to take Kyoko's photo out. You see, Kyoko's my daughter. And I just took it out. And I got a shock because I thought she was injured, you know. And
Shows how it's on your
yes,
mind.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
This boy was hit by a
if
phosphorus
it's your
grenade
own
in the
child,
crotch.
you would understand, you know.
And whatever that is, I don't know what it is, but it sounds awful. Phosphorus grenade in the crotch.
It's really terrible.
Well, we have to take a message. We'll be right back. Here again are the Lennons, John and Yoko, and the number, as soon as we get the buzz out of the speaker, will be the flight of the bumblebee if we're not careful.
This is called... This is called We're All Water, and it's a song from our latest album called Sometime in New York City, coming up this year.
There may not be much difference between Trevor Mao and Richard Nixon. We stripped them naked. There may not be much difference between Marilyn Monroe and Lenny Bruce. We checked their coffins. There may not be much difference White House and whole of people. We count their windows. There may not be much difference between Rocco Welsh and Jerry Rubin. We hear their heartbeat.
It's a New York group, Elephant's Memory, right?
Group is Elephant.
They're going to be performing in Washington
Saturday,
Square.
Washington Square, the
This
Methodist
Saturday.
Church this Saturday for a
Yes.
benefit.
Are you sure it's this Saturday?
Yeah, it's this Saturday.
Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah, we
you know what
worked
I
it
mean.
out. Yeah,
How
right.
dare you foreigners walk in here and induce hysteria
I know, it's
into our
terrible.
studio? It's frightening. Say,
May
have
not be much difference.
I met the best two of the former Beatles, would you say? I know you and Harrison. I know that puts you on the spot.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think you should meet Paul and you should meet Ringo.
Yeah?
I think Ringo you'd have a good time with.
What does
No,
Ringo
beautiful
do with his
people,
time?
really.
What does he read, for example?
Reed, he loves science fiction.
He does?
In fact, he loves it so much, he's handling Apple Films a lot these days, and he was in some mad spaghetti western. And we won't mention that, but I think he was all right in it. A weird film, you know.
I didn't see that.
But he's making a movie now of T-Rex, which is a new sort of phenomenon. You know, the kids are all crazy on him in England, and he's making movies and acting in them, so he's happy there.
When you two are performing just now, it must
Yeah.
get you up in a way that it doesn't to just sit and talk.
Yeah.
Can you stand a person who doesn't like music? You know, there are people like that. Who
I've never met one, you see.
No,
But there are
isn't
some.
anybody
Oh, there
like
was
that.
one man when we were playing our acetates, you know, when you get test pressings of a new album, we're playing them in our loft, and he came banging on the window saying, "Turn it down, it ain't that good!" That's the only
But
guy.
there
I
are,
met.
you know,
And there-
Nabokov, who wrote Lolita, has said that he finds music boring and uninspiring.
Well, he's an
and a waste of
intellectual, you
time.
see, and they can't,
Many
hear or
people-
feel anything.
Yeah, and many people hate my screaming, you know.
Why do you? And you're.
And many people hate my screaming. So in the beginning, all the engineers, when I started
Yeah, they
screaming, you
turn
know,
her off.
they used to just go out of the engineering room, you know. And
You have to
couldn't
feel
find me.
music.
Their life hard for
You
them.
feel music, you don't intellectualize it or listen to it or watch for it or study it. You feel it. You either play it or you feel it.
You and George Wallace always denouncing
I know.
intellectuals. We'll be back after this message. Stay.
Yeah!
Try and be respectable. We only have 30 seconds left. John Lennon, Yoko Ono, Shirley MacLaine, or Lemon if you prefer. I noticed the lady who bought my tie has left with it. That's interesting. The seat is empty. Monday night, Betty Davis and Peggy Wood, and Tuesday night, 90 Minutes with Jack Parr, believe it or not, and we'll see you all then. Good night.